What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Why Are We Here? I'm Spencer Crandall, and today on the pod is one of my dear friends, Knoxville legend, Jonathan Shockley.
Do you have to think about my name? That's great.
No, I just was laughing because you're not a legend, but you are from Knoxville.
I am legend.
You're a legend to me.
That's all that matters.
Yes, I love you dearly. Just a really great friend of mine, and obviously an incredible artist. You just put out a project, which we'll get into. I'd like you to tell the story of how we met because I'm always curious to hear your take on that situation.
Yeah,
and,
dude.
and
That's
our
exactly
meeting.
how I wanted to start today.
Go
It's
ahead.
me telling how we met. Perfect. Yeah, for sure. Here in this great city we call Nashville, sometimes people date, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just goofing. They're just hanging. I started hanging out with this girl, and she had a friend, as girls do. Girls have friends.
And that friend was my girlfriend at the time.
That's right. You were
Correct.
dating the friend.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that the first time we met, we wound up just dating instead. And
I remember this vividly that I asked you to tell it, but now I'm going to take
that's
over.
fine, yeah.
I remember this vividly that we were introduced maybe at like a party or a get-together.
Yeah.
And then both of our significant others at the time were like, where did they go? And it was you and I in a different room having like slumber party giggles.
Facts.
Talking about Justin Timberlake and the NBA.
Absolutely.
And we just really hit it off. And so then eventually I turned to you and I said, we don't need these humans to hang out. We can hang out as
Do
humans.
you want to form an alliance with me?
Yes.
Absolutely, I do. That's exactly how that went. That's
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That was that from The Office?
Yeah.
Yeah, that little TikTok audio is our relationship.
That's absolutely true.
Would you like to form an alliance with me?
Who's Jim and who's Dwight?
In this?
Yeah.
Do you think you're like the protagonist in life, or do you feel like you're more the jester? I have an answer.
I feel like we're so similar that it's just hard to...
Or maybe we're both Jims.
Yeah.
Who's the Dwight in our life?
Jake West.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, yes. You're correct. We're getting off track. The point is, we were dating other people and then basically ended up dating like the most platonic but yet not platonic love is ours. And
That's
so
the truest.
we're here now because of it. And also because of that, we have had many coffee dates. It's one of my favorite parts
Yes.
of our relationship is
Yes.
that just like, you know, we're both busy gentlemen, but at
Right.
least once a month we try to grab coffee. And you're one of the few people who is really doing the same shit as me. So it's like nice to just have somebody to bounce stuff off of. And like,
For sure.
you know, especially in this town and what we do, it's hard to find other people who can like commiserate with the
Absolutely.
bullshit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cut from the same cloth. It's good.
From the same cloth.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
You're a breath of fresh air.
You're a breath of fresh air. Stop.
That's a wrap.
Well, thanks. When did you move to Nashville? Because you're from Knoxville.
Yeah. So I say Knoxville. I'm from a like small town, like 30 minutes
Starts
east.
with an M.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Morristown?
God, you nailed that. Morristown. Very proud
Morristown.
of you. So from Morristown, moved to Nashville.
I Googled you,
Did you?
bitch.
What came up? Just like a high school touchdown, the one I had. That's about
Yeah,
it.
apparently you're not allowed within 100 yards of a Chuck E. Cheese, but we'll get into that.
I'm not,
Go
but
ahead.
they got great pizza. I moved to Nashville January, almost 4 years ago, January of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, so January 1.
Did I meet you like right as you moved then?
No, you met me the next year. We met the next year. I lied. It wasn't 2018. We met
you're right.
2019.
You're right.
Yeah. So moved then.
Why Nashville?
That's a good question. Because, you know, I do kind of the pop hip hop thing. And so I get asked that a lot. Why did you pick Nashville? And I think that what a lot of people are figuring out or maybe don't know at all is that Nashville is, you know, country music capital of the world. A lot of, you know, CCM music is based here, but just music in general, you know, kind of finds a home here. And so, which is really dope. But really what made me pick Nashville is one, I love Tennessee. This is home, you know.
Yeah.
But two, I just had some connections here. You know, I had met a couple producers who I had actually traveled back and forth and done some sessions with. And so it was like, this just makes logistical sense as well. You know, if I'm going to take this leap and, you know, not just dip my toe in the water and really full send this, it makes sense to go with a little bit of a, you know, a head start.
A little, it's nice to have champions.
For sure.
Especially starting out and
Absolutely.
to have people who believe in you.
Yeah.
And no, that's super helpful. Did you find music via Christian music and like CCM and leading worship and stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. I grew up, my dad actually traveled and sang gospel music.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from like before I was born until I was 13 or 14, he was on the road like 4 or 5 days a week on singing. And so I've always been up around it. And then obviously growing up in the church, leading worship, doing all of that. So music has always just been there, but it wasn't ever something where I was like, ooh, I'm going to do that one day. You know, it just kind of became, which I think we had this conversation. There's really not another option. You know, that's just kind of who I am.
When did that flip happen? Like, how did it go from I sing at church sometimes to I want to be the next Justin Timberlake? Like, what flipped and how? And like, that's a pretty big flip.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think I was on staff at a church. I'd graduated college. I was on staff at a church doing the gig that I thought was it, what I always wanted, had the job.
And that was you'd go around and take the cracker and the wine.
Yes.
You'd put
Eat
them
it
together
myself.
in your mouth, and then you'd baby bird it to the congregation.
Yeah,
Right?
yes.
That church got shut down, correct, for violations of health codes, correct?
And that's a wrap. Yeah, that wasn't it. But I was leading worship, doing the thing, and I guess I actually kind of started out in like a singer-songwriter world because that was all that I had the ability to do. I wasn't producing at the time by myself, and so
Was it like acoustic driven?
it was. Yeah, it was at one point. I was doing a lot of like stuff in the Young Life world, doing a lot of singer-songwriter stuff, and I just kind of realized that as much as I love the Lord and believe the things that I believe, I just wasn't, full-time ministry wasn't for me. I think that there was just a lot of things about who I am and who I felt like I was made to be that wasn't not necessarily expressed, but really tapped into in that position. And then really started to write music the way I wanted to write music and make music the way I wanted to. And I was like, oh, shit. This is it. And so when I moved, that was probably the moment, you know, getting in the car and being like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. So that was probably it.
That's 2018.
2018.
Then you just put out your mixtape, Nice to Meet You.
I did.
Which is great.
Thanks, man.
And you let me listen to a bunch of it before it
you.
came out.
Yeah.
How would you describe the sonic evolution of like 2017 EP to where you are now? And like, what are some of your major influences? And because it feels like, I'll tell you what I hear when I listen to it. It's like a lot of that, like Kanye gospel bigness and epicness matched with like the percussiveness and like melodic sense of like JT John Bellion. But then you have this other like, there's obviously a lot of hip hop and rap and like influence, but there's this like, it is gospel-y almost in a sense, matched with just like really tasty pop stuff. Is that right? Or
that was great. That was great. You just read the menu. No, well, you should, but you were right. That's great. One, that's a high compliment, so thank you. What's really interesting about this project is that part of the project was already released in single form.
Right.
And just long story short, kind of landed in a place where back in like music industry wise, like, you know, the world that the behind the curtain world, it made sense to kind of re-release those songs packaged with some new stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those songs came to life during 2018 and even before I moved to Nashville. Like I wrote them before I moved to Nashville. And I've got a really dope team around me that was like, hey, because, you know, as you also know, I'm sitting on another project right now that I just am just chomping at the bits to mess with. But they were like,
incredible.
Thank you.
You played me some of that too, and it was like super tasty.
That means a lot. But they were like, hey, you can't just, that's like drinking from a fire hydrant. You can't just give that to this little grassroots movement that you've got behind you and also the world and be like, here I am. They're going to be like, hey, I don't know how to process this project. And so they're like, you have to tell the story, which I think is something that you do such a good job of, is telling the story and painting the picture. And so that was our way of being like, hey, as it is titled, it's nice to meet you, because there's some new people that are coming along and hearing my story now. This is where I've been, but this is like, what matters is where I'm going, and I want you to come with me. I want to tell you this story, but I can't tell you the story if I don't read you chapter 1. And so those old songs were like, hey, this was chapter 1. I want you to hear this.
Yeah.
And so like the intro track, Nice to Meet You, is my way of being like, hey, to the world of the church world that I grew up in, I say fuck in my music, and it's okay. I still love Jesus. But you got an issue with that? Don't really give a fuck. But there it is, and here's where I've been, and this is where we're going. And so I think sonically, you're absolutely correct. My music has gone very like down the middle pop, and now it's landed in this place where, like what you said, like Kanye, big gospel, a big part of that was I started producing myself. That kind of that was my COVID project.
Yeah, I remember you starting to tell me about that. You're like, I'm starting to mess around with some production stuff, and you'd send me some beats or some stuff you're working on.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you started messing around a little bit more, there was like definitely a discovery process of who you are and like what you want to sound like. Because I think when somebody else is behind the controller or like pressing the buttons, there's always going to be a minuscule loss of like what you have in your brain to the keys, to the ears.
Absolutely.
But there was no more, it was a lossless transaction.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. And you know this, like the reality is the more lenses that you view a picture through, the more distorted it's going to be. Not in, and oftentimes that's a good, beautiful thing. That's the beauty of collaboration, and that's still necessary.
Yeah, the question's like how many lenses and which lenses.
Exactly.
Because all of a sudden, if you have 25 cooks in the kitchen, it gets super hard to communicate what you're communicating.
Right.
Also, if it's just you, it's probably not going to be as good as it possibly can be. Obviously, we know this through collaboration, and that's why we moved to a place like this, because people are really great at what they do.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. And I've been really fortunate to have the collaborators who I worked with previously, like pre-learning to produce, are still very much in my circle of collaborators, and it's a smaller circle. We've talked about that too. It's kind of, I found my group that I love, and not that it doesn't expand or move some, but like that, the project that we were talking about earlier, there were 7 people in a cabin bringing that to life, and that was very selective and by design. And so I think that when I started to make my own beats and kind of produce music myself, it allowed me to say the things that I have always wanted to say and make the sounds that I was told I wasn't allowed to make. And so now it has landed in this more of a hip-hop space sonically, but, as you and I know, what we bonded over initially was our obsession with the way that Justin Timberlake stacks vocals and moves harmonies and does that sort of thing. And so it's just been, I think I heard Machine Gun Kelly say this, because, he raps and then he does this pop punk thing, and there's rumor he's making a rap album again, and the market just gets pissed whenever you just bounce around for some stupid ass reason. And I saw, I don't remember if it was on TikTok or what, but he was like, yo, I just make fucking good music, so deal with it. And I was like, yeah, you do, man, deal with it.
Well, I feel like we all grew up with like LimeWire and Napster, and
that's how you consume music.
I would literally, I remember having this like shitty little iPod shuffle that I got for Christmas, and I had like 7 songs on it forever, and it was like Green Day, and then like, whatever, Kanye West, and you're so influenced by both of those things. When you go to write a song, production wise, you want 808s, but then you're like, but I also have this really angsty melody.
Facts.
And so instead of trying to put it in a box, I feel like a lot of people our age, and especially even younger, like my little sister, just doesn't give a shit about genre or like what, because there's no longer this place in a store where like, these are the hip hop CDs and these are the Christian CDs. Right. It's like, I think the most interesting art being made right now is a Frankenstein of cool shit.
Absolutely.
It's like, I love this thing and this thing and this thing. I'm going to take the best parts. I'm going to leave behind the parts I don't need or like transcend and include. Like, I'm going to transcend the shit I don't need. I'm going to include the shit I love. And that's kind of what I feel like especially the stuff that's out is that. And then I think what's cool is you have this new iteration, which I got to hear, which you guys will hear eventually, and I can't wait for you to hear, is this Frankenstein version of, It's really authentically you. Like when you spend time with you and then you listen to that music, like it really lines up and it really tells your story and it really like matches your personality, your energy, your vibes. Your vibes translate. There's not a higher compliment than your fucking vibes.
Keep doing that the
Girl,
whole time. Every time
your
you say
vibes
something,
translate,
you gotta
man.
flick it a little bit. You know, it's great.
I'm gonna flick my vibes.
Flick my vibes, like a booger.
So that's the name of the album is Flick My Vibes, and it comes out.
It's actually
on,
Bitch Don't Flick My Vibes.
Bitch Don't Flick My Vibes.
Yeah. That's
and
great.
you have Kendrick Lamar featuring. He's like, yeah, I love that more than my own song.
Yep. Kendrick, if you're watching, please, God, please.
He sues you for everything. That's
He's like, hey, man, you can't lie about me on Spencer's podcast. I'm like, okay.
Sorry.
Well, I did.
No, but I'm super excited for the music stuff. I have, or I guess we have had big conversations of like, what's the goal?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to hear you explain, because it's something that we talk about all the time. Like, mine's the stadium or whatever, and that gives me Stadium Gang and the road to the stadium and stuff, which is a good roadmap. What is the, like, if I could do, you know, at the end of my life, if I could say I got to do this, like, what's the goal? What's the life well lived?
I love that. I think there's so many ways to answer that, which is now I'm contemplating that and staring at the corner of that wall and like,
Stuck in a good stare.
God.
It's stuck in a good stare.
Right? It's great. I think so. Career-wise, I want to play the biggest stage possible. And for me, I want to play arenas. You know, I want as much room and as many ears to just... Because performing at the end of the day is my favorite thing. I love being in the studio. I love creating. Thank you. But that is my shit. Like, my favorite thing in the world to do. I've been doing that since I was little in musical theater and on up. And so... but I think that... And what you and I also bond really hard over is... We have these massive goals and these things that we want for ourselves in our career and are making the necessary sacrifices, hopefully, we'll find out if it pans out, to see that come to fruition. But it's not the end-all, be-all, you know?
Yeah.
And that's important. And I think that in the grind and the hustle, when your head is down and it's just like the nitty-gritty, that's often forsaken and overlooked. At least for me right now, I'm dealing with that. But I look up and I look around and I think, man, really good friends and people that I love and, you know, a sense of peace is just really special.
Yeah.
And so I've quit music and I'm moving to the coast.
I am shaving my head. I am taking a vow of silence. I will wear an orange robe.
I would thrive in a monastery. Thrive.
I don't think either one of us would.
We wouldn't. I was
We're
lying.
very talkative.
Yeah. Hey, man.
What did you do last night?
The same shit, bro.
Why don't you guys talk to me?
Can you imagine if we were both in the same monastery? Bro, so many disciplinary actions towards us. What do? Do they paddle in a monastery?
I can't imagine. They're pretty
Imagine paddling.
anti-violent.
Imagine paddling in a monastery. Now you want to go. I wonder if that's disrespectful. I'm sorry if you're into a monastery. Anyways.
We apologize to the monastery community. We're very sorry.
Super sorry.
I don't even know where to go from there. I actually do know where I'm going to go from there, which is I'm going to bring up a couple people, and you're going to just share their impact on your life.
Cool.
Ready?
Ready.
Kobe Bryant.
Jesus, man.
Too soon. It'll always be too soon.
Man, you know, I am, as you know, the biggest Laker fan, and that is just 92% of the fact that I grew up obsessed with the way he played the game.
Yeah.
You know, I love basketball's my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the
court.
I keep it so fresh on the microphone. But I fell in love with how he played the game. As I grew older, I really learned to appreciate, and honestly, and you probably get this, the way that, like, because you played sports, the way that you approach sports, that mentality has really helped me in my music career. And watching him be just his pursuit of excellence while also prioritizing the things that matter.
Yeah, that's...
like watching him be a dad, watching him be a husband, watching him be a friend, and watching him
Entrepreneur.
like
Yeah.
it just, So I think that like I watch Kobe Bryant highlights before I go on stage. Like,
Do you really?
yeah, which is really crazy, very fast story. Last show that I played was the day before the helicopter crash.
Really?
And like I put out a song on that Friday, which was the 24th. 25th played a show. 26th he died. And I remember like, driving back, and one of my best friends from home is the one who told me, texted me. And I remember getting the text, and I was like, you're buzzing. Like you just put out a song's doing well, show is sold out the show, like everything's like, dude, fuck yes, things are going well. And you get that, and it just brings you back to the place of like, this is very fragile, what matters.
Yeah.
And you look at the way that he lived, and it was just like, yeah, I could go on about what he means to me, and I know that you're in that boat too.
I mean, so I love watching people who are masters. Like Tom Brady last night won at 44.
Right?
He's 44 years old, and he's making game-winning drives that are, like, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, no errors.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to watch guys like Kobe, guys like Tom Brady, guys like, Kanye or JT or whatever. These people who are just such at the top of their game. And you're like, whoa, like, that is so inspiring to me. I think even, this is going to sound like condescending, but it's not. Like, I can watch an incredible painter and, like, feel like when someone's just great at what they do, it makes me, like, want to run through a wall. Like, I feel the same way before a show. I'll watch documentaries. I'll watch, like, a lot of people listen to pump-up music. I like listening to the stories of, like, great people, like The Last Dance or something like that. That's a great example of, it just, like, lit me up because I'm like, holy shit, these people said they wanted to be in the 1% and then took 1% actions.
Yep.
That's like a big part of what I try to do is like, if I want to play a stadium, that is such a crazy 1% dream. You have to map your actions, and a lot of those people sacrificed a lot to do that. And Kobe's like the top of the list of work ethic. Like the Mamba mentality is so real. And, and we're just like, two kids growing up watching a basketball player. But it is crazy how somebody like that can impact the world. Like, I think for a lot of guys our age, that was one of the crazier or most impactful celebrity deaths.
100%.
Ever.
100%. I felt so... I remember, like, I was bawling on that drive.
Dude.
Just
and then
boohooing.
He was with his daughter and stuff, too.
Right,
Which was just
exactly.
like the fucking gut punch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, why in the hell am I crying? I didn't know this guy. He didn't know me. Yeah. And then you just think about, holy shit, I'm crying over somebody I never, like, that just is all the more testament to who he was. Yeah. And so, special. Really special.
What about, let's just go right into Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. Well, Justin Timberlake means so much to me because he brought us together.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's our matchmaker.
He's our Cupid. He's our Cupid. Man, I love JT for all of the reasons.
His favorite JT album?
2020 Part 1 has probably been the most impactful.
Samesies.
But Future Sex is
that 2?
Yeah. Like, it's really, it varies on the day, to be honest. Just because,
that's fair. Like,
2020 Part 1 means the most because of the time period. Like, where that hit me in my life and what, that was my senior year of high school. And that was a moment where I was like, sonically just rocked my world.
Yeah. You hear something in music where you're like, what? You can do that?
Yes. And you know how, like, you hear songs now and it's like, I remember, I can smell the air when I heard this the first time. Like, I remember the road. Crazy. I remember homeboy in the passenger seat, or I remember the emotion I was feeling,
I remember when he put out, God, no, this is embarrassing. The first single off Man in the Woods, Put You Filthy. Yeah. I remember I was on vacation, and I think Jeff texted me. He's like, yo, new JT, because I, like, forgotten, or I was, in vacation mode. And I literally didn't even tell him. I just got up from the dinner table at this, like, nicer restaurant and went into the bathroom.
Shut up.
And just listened, like, Put You Filthy.
That's incredible.
I remember exactly where I was.
That's incredible.
Same thing, smells. I could tell you, like, I was wearing this, like, orangish salmon shirt. Like it's just weird when you hear a song and it like takes you to this place. I
Yes.
remember where I was when I heard Sam Hunt for the first time. I remember, you know the song "Let It Go" by Passenger.
Sorry,
it's like
so totally on a frozen mode. Now I was like,
yeah, Elsa, go ahead.
yeah, duh.
Let it go. That song, I remember my buddy showed it to me, and we were in a car. What if that was the whole story? We were in a car.
We're in a car. Thanks for
So
watching.
what do you think? We were in a car, and it was snowing, and it like looked like a snow globe outside.
Yeah.
And then he played, and you know, they're like dee 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 dee. It's just so beautiful. And like it was one of those moments in music where I was matched up with the song
Yeah,
so
that's
perfectly. Like
special.
that's the setting. I wish everyone could listen to that song.
Yeah, for the first time there.
In that setting.
That's cool,
And, like,
man.
Do you have any songs like that or any like experiences?
I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I remember like those moments of.
Besides when you heard my music for the first time.
Right, I heard My Person for the first time laying next to the love of my life.
Yeah, that's right. I played it for you.
Yeah, I was right.
In bed. I know.
You know, I think I have like the moments of like remembering where I was and when I listen to this. Honestly, the best one, which is super sad, but it's kind of funny. My senior year of high school, the game we lost in the playoffs, we are shaking hands, and you know, you're taking off. I'm about to take off pads for the last time. I'm not going to go play college ball. Look at me. And so we're going through, and I was also got a concussion that game. So like, this is like spotty and also kind of out of it. And Home by Philip Phillips is playing, and I'm with like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And we're standing there staring at the field, and he is just like ugly mom crying, and I'm like. You know, I'm also crying, but also like kind of not there. But I remember like the lights. I remember seeing the other team celebrate over there.
Yeah.
And hearing Home by Philip Phillips. No, you're not alone. I'm like, no, man, but also I gotta get out of here. This is not okay, bro.
Just fully concussed.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, it's crazy how music can do that stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, new Kanye came out. Hot
Yeah.
take. Donda, what does it do for you? Are you a fan? Are you in? You out? Rated on 1 to 10.
Well, I should not. I will try to just preface with I should never be the one to talk Kanye critiques because I just don't really have them. That's how much I
Your
adore him.
bias.
Yeah, my bias is just off the charts.
So we'll acknowledge the bias.
Take that. Take
the
this with a grain
door.
of salt.
You've left it. You've kicked off your shoes of bias.
Yes.
And now you
Now,
can
my
still
unbiased
report.
opinion, he's the second coming. No.
Jesus.
I love Donda a ton. I think that what I love about Kanye is he is. There's nothing that Kanye does that can be digested quickly. Like that project. I probably listened through probably 5 or 6 times completely, which takes like a day and a half because it's a long ass album. And each time I realize he's just a fucking genius, and he can do whatever he wants, and it's still gonna sell. Which there's an element that comes with that that's just like pop culture, and people are like, "How's he gonna while out this time?" But
Yeah.
I just think that like I get on a soapbox here, and so I'll try to lower the soapbox and say I think that if you look at the landscape of music, and if you go back through Kanye projects, you recognize how much music has changed because Kanye West
That's
is on
very
the
true.
planet.
No matter what you think of Kanye and his
Yeah,
antics
exactly.
and his like eccentric
Yeah.
nature,
Yeah.
when Kanye goes here, the music industry bends to it.
Yeah,
It
no.
just is super interesting to watch. You
Yeah.
can hear, especially like around graduation, everything like
Yeah.
just skirted so
And I
hard
mean,
towards that sound.
you look
and
at
that
808s
style.
and Heartbreaks, which is not
Oh.
one of my favorite albums of his, but pop music, obviously hip hop, but
Hasn't been the same since.
never will be. I mean, unbelievable. And so I think that I love what he did with Donda. I love the way that he is still staying true to who he says he is and what he believes now. And I think that he is just finds ways to manipulate sonics in just a way that nobody else does.
Yeah.
And so,
Are you always fully erect when you talk about Kanye West?
yeah, actually,
Is that a condition?
yeah, could we raise this table? I keep
I think you're about to.
keep hearing that little
about to.
just bricked up over here talking about Kanye.
No,
so.
he's incredible.
Yeah.
My hot take is like I think it's good. I follow like more as a Drake guy, slightly.
Yeah.
It's like more my I love his lyric. He has a little bit more of it. What Kanye is to me is like the movie behind the trailer, which is like pretty traditional pop music. What Drake does is like give you the lyrics of the actual
Your
script.
next Instagram caption. No, but yes.
But he gives you the like what happened, and Kanye gives you kind of how to feel about what happened.
Yeah, no, I think
they're like almost apples and oranges, but for me personally, a little bit more on the certified
I
lover
get
boy
it.
train. Personally, at the moment, we'll see what happens. I also will say Kanye is a grower, not a shower, in that his shit grows on me.
Facts.
Sneakily.
Yeah.
Like even I don't remember the name of the gospel album, but there's been a couple. What is it?
Jesus is King.
Jesus is King. Jesus is King. And I remember that I listened to it, was like, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then like a year later, I heard some of that stuff. I was like, oh, this is better than I remember it being.
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
I completely agree. I also would like to say I'm the beef between the two of them. Like I'm not the either or. Like fuck that.
I feel the same way.
I think that
I can listen
like
to Kanye and Drake and have no competition in my brain.
Yeah.
I just did a little bit of that.
In a perfect world, a year from now, they've already kissed and made up, and they're doing a joint album, and the world will never be the same.
I would love that.
I would lose
That would
my
make
mind.
me so happy.
Yeah.
My last person on my list of just people who have had an impact on your life, because I know you, is Jakey Poo. Is your boy,
My
Jake
boy.
West.
Yeah, Jake West, my
And
manager.
a mutual friend of ours, my favorite hug in Nashville, Tennessee.
100%. Yeah.
I see him and I just go,
I think it got rated on the scene as best
his
hug in
greatest hug.
Nashville.
Yeah. It's a 9.8 out of 10.
Right.
He gets a little tight sometimes, so that 0.2 varies.
Yeah. His beard's a little prickly.
Give me kind of the rundown on Jake and like his impact on your life, because I know obviously you guys work together now, like officially, which is super fun. It's, you know, like my kind of mantra is like create things you love with people you love.
Facts.
And that's kind of what you're in the position to do.
Yeah. Jake is the biggest gift in my journey through my music career. He got into music because of me. Like he was going into the military and got medically discharged, and then was like,
we just had coffee the other day and he was telling me that.
Yeah, and so he was like, we had this moment where we were sitting at this like dive bar pizza joint, and he's like just in a horrible mental state telling me what happened, and I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna give this music thing a go. I'll need a manager one day. And here we are. Shit, dude. That was almost 5 years ago we had that conversation, and now like as of like 3 months ago, I've signed with his, you know, he works for a management company here in town, and I've signed under him, you know, which is also cool because I'm his first official client. So it was just a really sweet full circle thing. And honestly, bro, it's really, and you probably know this and experience this with Jeff, because, you know, your all's relationship is Jeff Corwin.
Jeff Corwin.
Yeah.
The
Jeff
animal
Gordon.
guy.
Yeah, the animal guy.
Jeff and I, we've wrestled so many gators at this point. It's like, who's the wrestler and who's the gator?
That's a good point.
Well, thank you so much. Jeff being my manager. Sorry. Yeah.
Relationship is very similar, and so I think that what's great is with Jake, I found obviously a champion, but somebody who, because there are days that you don't have the strength or the belief to carry the torch. You know, and somebody else has got to pick that bitch up and run it for you. And we've found that with each other. And he, you know, obviously knows and understands me as a human, which is a bear in itself to tackle because I'm a bitch. And so he...
Can I retweet that?
100%. Yeah, for sure. Get on a t-shirt.
Spency Boo retweets. Shock this dick.
You back on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I'm back on Twitter.
Shout out.
Twitter's back.
Shout out to that Twitter
ban. For those
ban.
of you who don't know, my Twitter was banned for like 2 years for no fucking reason. At Spency Boo was banned. Made it when I was 14. Keep going, Jake.
Jake is the one who reported him. He flagged him so many times. They're like, we're going to give this bitch what he wants.
Hug too hard. Fuck him and his family.
He
and
gave me
everything
9.8. Yeah, so what the fuck was I saying about Jake? Yeah, so he just really understands me, which helps me...
It's so nice to have someone on your team who gets you.
Yes, because this is not just music, you know? Like,
it's not just business.
Right. Our lives are wrapped up in this bitch, and that comes with a lot of...
It's like your lives are like wrestled together.
Yes.
Like a gator
Yeah.
and like Jeff Corwin.
Right.
When they
Absolutely.
Would you say that's the perfect metaphor?
Yeah, Animal Planet sponsoring this, right?
Guys, get 20% off of just fucking Animal Planet. That's the whole thing.
Of Animal Planet.
Do you want a planet full of
That's
animals? 20% off. Use code SHOCK.
They just get like a mailbox full of Beanie Babies.
Just a bees.
Bees. What the fuck? This is the worst discount ever.
But I got 20% off, so it feels
Worth
all right.
it.
Well, that feels like a perfect segue to go into my favorite part of the conversation, which is the cards. No wrong answers, just really cool, weird, interesting questions.
Cool.
But I feel like you might do some interviews or have other chats, but hopefully they're just ways to get people to talk about stuff. And we really like to cancel people here. So if you just talk about
Great. I am.
specifically race,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
COVID, just take a hard stance on COVID. That'd be really nice. And then
Perfect.
just pretty much talk about either Trump or Biden. Just take a
Either
hard
or
position
and bash the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah. And
You know,
then we'll end on religion.
perfect.
And
I've got them all.
Should be
Like
good.
Pokemon.
Cool. All right. First off, vaccine, cap or fact?
Cap or fact?
JK.
Rolling.
Just JK Rowling. What a author.
I did say Hogwarts.
My first question to you. Is there a time in your life where you felt like I'm doing exactly what I should be doing? If so, when?
Yes. I think that I feel it most days that I'm doing music stuff. Now there are days where that comes out more. I think one of those days we just shared recently, our session
was
that we
super fun,
had.
man.
Like that. Those are days where it's like, yeah, this is what matters. This is who I was made to
The
be.
best way I can describe that, and I felt that day, and I'm excited to keep working together and writing and stuff, is because there are some days where I check my calendar and it feels like work, and then there's other days where I always liken it to the slumber party, where it's like, this is what I'd be doing anyway.
Facts.
If you and I were hanging out, we'd probably end up just fucking around on your computer and making something, and then all of a sudden I'd do a little melody and you'd hop in.
Yep.
That to me is what's so great about that process.
Yeah.
And we did share that the other day. It was wonderful.
Absolutely. So I think that's probably, which is cool because I don't know that I did up until this point. There were moments that I was super fulfilled, and obviously that has a lot to do with my faith and what I believe. But I think that one of my mentors was always said be who God created you to be. And I think that I feel that the most in moments like that, or honestly moments when I'm on stage. I remember the last show I walked off and they were like, are you on a high? Are you buzzing? Is this cloud nine? And I was like, no. That just felt like the most natural form of myself. It wasn't like I was way up here oh shit, that was amazing. It was just I just got to be exactly who I'm supposed to be. And that just puts a smile on my heart, not so much
You
a
smile
crack
on
high.
your heart?
Yeah,
You should get that checked out.
I am.
That is
I am.
not healthy.
I've got 2 years left.
Puts a smile on my heart. That's the name of the next album.
It's my grandma's
Smile.
T-shirt. Smile on my heart.
Smile on my heart, boy. I tell you what. If you could share a meal with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would
I
they be?
fucking love that question. That's great.
Hey, thanks, man.
A meal. And I also love that because I think there's something just special about sitting around a table and eating together.
It's not just hanging out.
Yeah,
You're
that's
going to go
great.
through a 5-course meal.
Yeah.
You're going to go to Kane Prime.
Love
And they're
that.
going to bring out the works for you. And
Yeah.
you get, really their full attention. You have
Yeah.
the back room. You have these 3 folks.
And we're doing something that makes us all human. We
Yes,
all
that's a great
fucking
point, too.
eat. So let's do
I
that
haven't
thing.
eaten since 2014, but I know that people do
Ooh,
eat.
you should get that checked out. Yeah.
What do you mean?
What are you saying?
I just drink
Protein
12
shakes.
protein shakes a day.
Sick.
Yeah.
They're all day old.
Gross.
If I could have a meal with any 3, I'm going to go 1, Kobe. He's going to be there. Holy shit, this is an incredible question. 2, I'm going to go C.S. Lewis.
Ooh. Fascinating.
Yeah, he's my favorite author. And
Is he?
Yeah. I'm going to go C.S.
Name
Lewis.
6 of his songs.
Kobe. Name 6 of their songs. That's funny. And number 3, I'm going to go...
And it can't be me. I know you keep looking at me like, can it be you?
I'm like, do you want to come? Do you want to come? I got one more. Number 3, let me go. This is going to be, some people are going to be like, what the fuck? I'm going to go Barack Obama.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go Barack Obama. Those 3.
Why Barack?
I just, one, think he's a classy mofo, and 2,
classy guy.
he's just, I'm a big fan of people, this is another soapbox, I'm a big fan of people who listen more than they talk.
Oh,
And
I love
he, while obviously being the former president and being smart and all that, does talk a lot. I think that Barack Obama, to me, obviously I'll find out at dinner, so I don't know, but strikes me as someone who genuinely wants to listen to what Kobe and C.S. Lewis and maybe even me has to say at that dinner.
Yeah.
So.
And by far and away, in my opinion, this is a hot take, the most handsome president we've ever had.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I can't imagine there's been a more handsome president. Because he came in
Kennedy
young.
was a good looking dude.
Kennedy was, that's true.
He's a good looking dude.
But I'd still probably take Barack.
Oh.
Hey guys, welcome back to Hottest Presidents, the podcast where we just rank.
Wait, I want your 3 for that. That's an incredible
At dinner?
question. Yeah.
I would put Justin Timberlake in there.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. I always go back and forth with people. Like, a couple people like have come in and out of my life. Like, I was a huge Will Ferrell fan, so that was like one that was super interesting to me. I might do let's see, like Justin Timberlake. It's a tough question because the second you put somebody in, like more people can't be in there.
Absolutely.
So I get that. My gut tells me to be like Justin Timberlake, maybe even like Leonardo DiCaprio would be really cool.
Oh, that would be sick.
Ooh, actually, I would do Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
For sure. She is, to me, like, it's not even close. She's the GOAT. This is a hot take. Like, I don't think anyone has written, she is the best artist-writer of all time, to me, and it's not even close.
I totally get that. I
understand people would say Paul McCartney, which I get that, or Ed Sheeran. And those are the 3 in the conversation to me, that all respectable choices. It's kind of like a LeBron, Kobe, Jordan thing.
Yeah.
But to me, I think her lifelong impact, because she's like not even close to being done, at the end of it, she'll be the greatest of all time. She'll be Tom Brady of music and stuff.
I love that take.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that at all.
T-Swizzle.
Yeah.
I have Justin Timberlake. Barack's actually a really good one. Bill Gates is really interesting to me.
You would. That's such a Spencer answer.
Well, just because the dude has promised to give away like 90% of his
look?
wealth.
Unbelievable.
Don't look into the cameras. We didn't give you permission to do that.
There are no cameras.
There's no cameras here. I don't know. I haven't thought about that one in a long time. But I like to switch them up when I answer. So
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon used to be in that. I just love Jimmy Fallon.
Ellen DeGeneres just popped in my head.
Ellen's
too.
a great one.
That'd be a good
Oprah's a great one.
Yo, that would be gas.
Like, talk about a person with like the most life experience, and like she's talk about listening. I think actually I would do Oprah, Josh voice from Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
Oprah, T-Swizzle, and Justin Timberlake.
I love that.
Now you have no women. Is that because you hate women? You texted me this morning. You're like, you know who I hate?
Hey, dude, I wanted to tell you this morning I hate women. No.
We just cut that clip and
Stop.
posted it on TikTok.
You pick no women. Is it because you hate women? And then cut to me somewhere going, yeah.
Really, it's like, you want to grab lunch out of this? Absolutely. We're on the road to canceling Shockley, and we're pretty dang close. Okay,
Yeah, it's not difficult.
Moving on, because that's a great question. Thanks for being curious about my answer. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
If there was a pill that every human being could take that makes them instantly feel or know something, what would you put in that pill?
Instantly feel or know something?
Correct. So
Oh, I know.
everyone would feel empathy. Everyone would know when they're going to die. Everyone, I'm just giving you arbitrary examples as
Damn.
you're thinking. Everybody
Wants me. Here it is. Ready? I've got it. I'm ready. In the pill, it would create the... It would cause everyone to not want to prove... How do I word this?
marinate. It's still in the crock pot. It's soaking up the juices.
Make people not want to prove everybody else wrong and demonize people who think differently than you.
Can I I would say that pill is like the cure to comparisonism.
Yeah.
It's like people would really focus on their shit and not like. I think if you could have a pill with like two things, like taking away comparison and then a mass pill of like empathy.
Yes,
Because
that's great.
That's
great.
I see like what seems like evil in the world. My gut reaction is anger. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're an evil human being. And then the crazy part is if you really could watch and feel everything that they've been through,
Yeah.
the question that is almost disturbing to ask yourself because we don't want to answer, but it's probably true is, would I be in the same position if I was hurt that much, if I was beaten, if I was, you know, cast away by society in the way that these people have? And then, look, I'm not saying like there's any excuse to be in the Taliban, but a lot of those men are targeted because they come from these terrible situations, right? And so like I'm saying that to have mass empathy for people because I think that's at least where the solutions start.
I think that's
is like, okay, how did we get here?
That's great.
And that comes from empathy and a lack of comparison. I think is beautiful, and that's something that I struggle with. If there was a pill, I would take it in a heartbeat. So I love that answer.
Yeah. I think that I think empathy is the best way to put it. You kind of did that way better than I did. Just the fact that when we see it so much, but whenever you sit across a table from somebody who thinks differently or goes about their life differently, I feel like oftentimes that means that they are the enemy.
Or they're wrong.
Wrong. And therefore, I have to prove my rightness and your wrongness. That is now my mission. And I think that just results, one, in just disgusting division, and two, just a really angry world and really just separate world. So
something that I hate about myself is my gut reaction to make something binary is like, this is good or bad, light or dark, yes or no. And the reality is it's just not. It's so rare in life that like something is just objectively good or bad. And so like that I do think is part of that pill.
That's great.
Is like, how can you know, like almost another answer that I'm thinking of right now is like almost like a nuance pill where everybody really understands the like, yes, that's a part of it, but this is a part of it. And if you go back through the history of it, this is a part of it. Like it's kind of like the Bible. The first time I read it, I was told it was this way. And then with some more nuance, I was like, oh, it's actually a lot of things. The Bible isn't just a singular, inerrant word of God. It is a book of stories and chapters of history put together by tons of authors, poetry, laments, all these crazy things, which to me added beauty.
100%.
I really appreciated that nuance. So,
100%. And I think that what's great about that example is when you bring a different perspective and I bring a different perspective, we only know more of who the creator is because of that. And that's how he designed it. You know, he's not like that communal aspect of the way that I believe it just creates more furthering knowledge and as opposed to, you know, because I think that everybody's like, all right, I got to find all the motherfuckers who think and act and do like me, and
that's not critical thinking.
I
think Adam Grant just tweeted that recently. He's like, if you and someone else rarely disagree, one of you isn't critically thinking. Somebody in that room isn't asking themselves all the right questions. And like, to me, I'm always asking myself, where are my echo chambers? Where are the places that like I'm seeking confirmation versus conflict, because the conflict might mean I'm wrong.
That's great.
But again, it sucks because we want right and wrong, black and white, this or that, and it's not that easy.
And with that comes a really like, it's hard to say, hey, I was wrong. Oh, that shit sucks.
It's been one of the hardest lessons I've learned as an adult is like, there's power in vulnerability and weakness and saying help or I was wrong. Like I think the reason that we're both doing the things that we love to do today at a level that's higher than we were is because of our rate of failure speeding up. Because you realize that, oh, it's okay to be wrong. And in fact, by being wrong, I will find the right answer.
That's exactly right.
It was really hard to do.
I saw this interview with Kanye where he said,
why are you rock hard again?
Yeah, sorry. God, it is hot in here. I saw this video where he was like, God, Jesus, man. Got me thinking
That's my
about
goal, just to throw you off the
did
scent
it.
really quick. You're watching a Kanye video.
Yeah, and he was like, people who have an answer for everything and always try to be right, their entire life is a test.
Oh, I saw this on
And
TikTok.
Whenever you think about test day, how stressed out and how worked up and how
You're living your life as a test day.
and that is just disgusting.
Oh, God.
And I was
that's
like,
stressful.
See, he's a genius. Kanye, you're a genius.
Genius.
Anyways,
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's. I love all of that very much. And this is like a pretty good look at our coffee dates.
Yeah,
It starts
100%.
off like business, industry, and then we're
100%.
like, the Lord.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's why I love you, man.
Yeah.
This one says, do you want to run away together? If so, Bora Bora or Cancun?
Check yes and
Check yes or no.
check yes or no. It's the only country song I know.
Says, have you ever had an experience that you can't explain? If so, what was it? That can be aliens. That can be the Lord. That can be you ever taken like a really long pee, but you feel like you didn't drink enough water, so it doesn't add up. You're like, whoa, this is a lot of urine for a very little amount of water intake. That's something I can't explain. I had the longest pee of my life. This is real, and I have to share it on the podcast. Literally, I was in the mountains, and this is what brought it up. I was so dehydrated. I had been on like 4 flights in 24 hours, and just had one of those where you're like, really? Oh, really?
Still going.
Continue?
Still going.
So
Pull
what's
out your
your
timer.
longest pee? Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast, Hot Presidents and Long Peas.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No,
Yeesh.
something you can't explain in your life. It could be the Lord, it could be aliens, it could be ghosts, ghouls, goblins. It could be
Goblins and ghouls.
like intuition, gut stuff that you're like, whoa, how did that happen?
That's great. I thought of kind of like small examples with all that. I think I'm gonna go with I don't want to call it a cop-out, but it definitely is the Lord and my faith. I think that there are moments, which I think we've had these conversations, where people don't like to discuss unbelief, especially when it comes to something like their faith. And I remember coming to a place in my life where I was like, yo, I don't think this shit's real. I'm out. I don't like it. I think I'm just like way too bad of a person for this, so count me out. Deuces. And it was in that moment that like belief really set in. Like not like that exact moment, like I got hit by a bus and boom, now I believe. But it was that process of just really like my faith being given to me and crafted and molded through a series of several. I mean, it will never end. But I think that that's really it. It's the moments of just, I don't know where this is gonna fucking come from. Like I don't. It's not in the tank, and life sucks way too much, and so either you aren't who you say you are, or I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And it could be both. And those are the moments. So it's probably a collective group of moments where he meets me in those moments, and it's like, oh, and that's what gets me out of bed. So
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Great answer.
And yours is the P, so I like
And
yours better.
mine's the P that didn't stop in Beaver Creek, Colorado on 9-5.
I was gonna say, was that here recently? Whenever you had like 13 weddings,
I had 2 weddings
27
in
dresses.
24 hours. I wore 27 dresses in 24 hours.
24.
24 oceans. Remember
You went
Switchfoot?
Switchfoot.
Yeah, that's the
Wow.
first CD I ever had.
Really? Mine was Chris Brown's debut album. Bought it with my own money. Third grade, little conservative Jonathan walking in with his white mama, and she's like, "Oh yeah, go for it." And I bought it, and I was like, "You have no idea what this is about." It's great.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Chris Brown, early Chris Brown especially, just again, talk about a maverick in the industry. Any whoozle woozle. I actually kind of already did that question, so I'm gonna say skip. I don't like that question. I wish I could take it out.
This is
watch
Uno now.
We're gonna take out this question live. Boom, it's gone forever. We have a live fire here, and it's now
Definitely
been-
over there.
Nope, it's in the fire. What are you most qualified to give advice about?
Not
Shockley?
shit.
You're like the third person to say that.
Listen, here's the deal. man. But this has just been the theme.
Oh, God.
This has been the theme. But like, I think that my advice would just be on stop acting like you know everything, because you don't. And that's
pretty good advice.
I only get further in life whenever I just listen and ask and shut the fuck up and just let that be a better student than you are a teacher.
I feel like that is something that we both connect on, though, is like really asking people in our lives, like, to be really honest with us and try to get like critical thinking and feedback, even when it fucking sucks, because your music is your heart. And so when someone's ripping your heart out of your chest and be like, don't love the bass.
bro.
You're like, cool.
Dude, that shit, that happened to me this week. Fuck,
Yeah,
I'm
it
still
sucks.
recovering. Yeah.
Somebody tells you a song that you've been vibing on is like, okay.
God.
It sucks, but that's the like sharpening of the swords that creates, you know, conflict, which creates better art and creates better versions of ourselves. So
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. You are qualified to give advice on that because you suck so often. I feel like you fail more than anyone I know. And so from that, your advice on failure
Is the
it's
as the biggest failure I know, you can
give
definitely
so much advice on failure.
Right.
Wow. The Lord put this one on the top of the deck. What is the most important piece of advice you'd give to someone starting out in your line of work?
The most important piece of advice.
So somebody like imagine a young Jonathan
Rolls up and is like,
and he's like, hey man, I too, you know, want to sing.
That's
I wanna
good.
be a songbird.
I think, you know, and I think we will both say this, you know, oftentimes we feel so elementary and at the start, really in our own heads, like, you know, that it feels like how to tell you how to get started in this. I'm trying to figure that out. But I think that I would say put all the cards on the table and don't feel the need to get on the hamster wheel. Be curious and ask the questions, and let your don't try to put a square peg in a round hole. Like let it be, let it go, and come to you. Because I think that I've been doing this for 4 years now. The times that were the most difficult or that feel the least genuine or the biggest waste of time, which weren't because I learned, but were the times that I forced. And not forced in a sense of like, that can often be translated to be lazy and apathetic. That's not it at all. Like, fucking grind. But don't feel the need to, to force it out. I think that oftentimes the best, whether it be a song or an opportunity, it comes as a byproduct of the grind and not so much me just trying to like pull shit out of thin air.
Yeah.
And
well, like I heard a quote this morning from Chris Martin from Coldplay, and he was talking about how songs don't come to you, they come through you. And that's kind of part of that. Is like you show up, it's like going to the gym, like you have to be there, you have to go put in the work. But forcing a workout when you're tired is actually going to hurt you. And like, I think for songs especially, sometimes I literally, if I'm not in the mood to write, I'll think of it this way where like, I'm just going to put my little lightning rod up. And if it gets struck today, awesome.
Yeah,
but like,
that's great.
It's not my job to force creativity, to hop on the hamster wheel just to hop on the hamster wheel.
That's great.
It is, you're almost kind of asking the universe, God, energy, yourself, your subconscious, do what you are going to do.
Yeah.
And I will then almost like assemble it.
Make yourself available to it.
Yeah, make yourself available to it. That's really great.
That's great. And I think that oftentimes those moments of resistance are when that's obviously when you're going to be refined the most.
Yeah.
You know.
What's the thing that you're most proud of?
That I'm most proud of? I think I'm really proud that this is more elusiveness to the project that is coming, but I'm proud of the way that I'm proud of the community I was able to build and create this project with. I'm proud that I said the things that I did say, that I was told I couldn't say or shouldn't say. It was one of the most like therapeutic, and I don't mean therapeutic in the moment. I mean like therapeutic for like past 5 years and time to come, like put me in such a special spot mentally and spiritually. And so I think I had this thought this week, like if I put out that project one day, God, please one day, if I put out that project one day and I hang my hat on it and I walk away, worth it, which is like really crazy for me to say that. and think that way. Not in like all right, I'm gonna quit on this, but it means that much to me.
I think at the end of every project, if you feel like there's another level, you probably didn't go all out. So I think that's what you're saying is like,
yeah, absolutely.
Not like I don't want to continue playing
That's a
the
great
game,
point.
but like there isn't anything more that I could have said. There isn't anything more I could have done.
That's actually you actually kind of just gave me that. So thank you. It is like, I think that up to this point in my career, I have walked away from a project or a song and been like,
yeah. Was that bridge really strong? Or
which
like,
I think you're always going to have. There's always going to be a moment where you want to change
especially
the snare.
with time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've heard Chris Martin talk about that.
Never wanted to change a snare. Keep going.
But you know, those things
perfect snares
happen. But with this, it's like, I'm going to put out an imperfect project because every project will be.
Yep.
But I fucking threw every bit of me. I exhausted myself for that project.
And if you can know that, like, look, it's not going to be for everyone, but it was for me at the highest level, which I think has been my greatest lesson as well. We talk about this a lot, is like, what is the point of making something that's commercial if you don't want to listen to it in your own car? What the fuck is the point of any of this?
Facts.
Like,
yes,
I have to make music that I don't think exists in the market.
Yeah.
Or that exists in a way, but I feel like I can do it better.
Yeah.
Or like, those are all acceptable answers. To make something because it's going to do well at radio or it might get playlisted is so boring.
Yeah,
and I think the good news is for both of us, we've had enough of those opportunities where you can feel it and go, that feels good for about 9 days.
For sure.
And then if you don't like the mix, it's going to fucking haunt you.
Yes.
Or if you put out the song that was safe, but the one that you actually fuck with is sitting in your pocket, that'll haunt you.
Dude.
And that's what I'm super proud of you, because I've heard the new music and it feels like if there was any part of you that was like hidden, it's like super vulnerable.
100%.
It's like you're naked on this project in a good way.
That's what it's called.
It's called Naked on this project.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Parentheses. In a good way.
Yeah.
Other parentheses.
And it's just me and my right angle of a dick.
My Kong question mark?
And you're the back cover. I love that.
Okay, let's do one more card, and then I'll get you out of here because it's Friday, and I really appreciate your time. And I just love you so much. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me. This is dope. Y'all are sick.
Thanks, man. You're sick.
I am.
You came in sick.
Yeah, I did.
Great.
Yeah.
COVID.
Bad Thai
food. Who is it in your life that you could never leave out of an acceptance speech? Acceptance speech?
Oh, dude.
Acceptance.
I love that.
Acceptance speech.
Yeah, you should learn to speak if you want to.
Learn to speak if you want an acceptance speech.
That's it. Like the rest of it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Using my hands. Was that from 22
We gotta keep
Jump
doing
Street?
that. That's a callback right there.
Hey,
what that is.
good
old
callback here.
That's right.
Welcome to Hot Presidents, Long Piss, and Callbacks. We're your hosts. Go ahead. Please answer the question.
It's a person I couldn't leave out of an acceptance speech.
Besides me.
Well, there's the givens, which is, your family, all of that. Obviously, like,
Kanye.
I'm probably going to wind up preaching a sermon talking about the Lord, and they're going to be like, hey, dude, like,
you're going to get
I mean, like, open up your
music.
Bibles to Romans chapter 8, and they're like, get the fuck off the stage, dude. I'm like, you get the fuck off the stage. It is, it's Jake, man. It is Jake.
Yeah.
I could not... I'm gonna be a bitch for a second. Wait, I'm always a bitch. There was a moment where, he won't mind me sharing this, but there was a moment where he was like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. And we're kind of at this crossroads, which is really special because it was right before we did the project I've been talking about and why we decided to do it. He was like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. I feel like this might be your dream and not mine. And it wasn't met with, like, anger or, like, what the fuck, dude? I thought it was just an overflow of just sorrow. And just because of the fact that, like, and you know this, but when you jump off the ledge and do what we're doing and your life becomes entangled with this, you mark moments of your career with moments of pain in your life. Like, I can look back to periods of song, and obviously, like, there's the moments where you write songs about those things, but even beyond that, like, I remember, going into meetings or sessions with just my heart just fucking shattered, or like shit at home is a wreck, and I'm trying to play a show, and he's the motherfucker who was behind the curtain look at me in the eyes like, I know what you feel. I
We
know
got
where you're
this.
at.
You got this.
But trust me, like, you are made for this. And so, I mean, I'm telling you, man, I would have quit a long time ago if he hadn't come on this journey. You know, a lot of this too, my career up to this point has been me obviously discovering who I am, but gaining confidence in who the Lord made me to be for the first fucking time in my life. Like, you can ask my friends growing up. I kind of did everything at like 75% because I was so scared. But this is the first time in my life that I've been like, you know what? If I fail, I'm gonna fail hard as shit because I know that I know who's gonna catch me. Like, as cliche as that is, like, I know the Lord is gonna catch me. And Jake is the one who's like, hey, you know that's true. Like, the days that you don't believe that fact is true, it's fucking true.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, hats off to that.
Oh yeah, I love that, man.
boy. So Jake, and I feel like I've heard you answer this question before, and I think you said Jeff.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I said my parents, which sounds cliche, but I do have amazing parents. And then, yeah, I mean, Jeff Corwin. The first time I watched him,
The way he handles anacondas is
he wrestles a gator.
sweaty.
Like, no, I mean, Jeff Cherry, yeah, he's the dude. And for real, if you like the podcast, if you like what I do musically, if you like anything that I've done, he's such a big part of all that. And I cannot imagine that I would be even half as far as I am. And I have a tattoo on my body, on my wrist, and it's these little swords, crossing swords. And it's, you know, I think it's like Proverbs 27:17. It's like, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man to another. And Jeff is some of the sharpest iron I've ever come across.
That is the best way to describe Jeff.
It is
100%.
the kind of guy that it's so, he lives his life in a way that is so admirable and in a way that's like so just like inspirational. The way, his work ethic, the way that he treats people, that it like puts a spotlight on your own shit.
Yes, dude.
And that's the coolest people that I like to surround myself with are human beings who inspire me, because like we were talking about earlier, when you watch Tom Brady, they're just that good at what they do.
Yeah.
Jeff is so good at being Jeff that it's almost intimidating, and then it makes me go, wow, there's a better version of myself. And
Yeah.
we work really hard on what we do, and it's a shame that it shows and everything, like that my name is on things and that his isn't. So I wish there was a better way to do that, and that's why I preach the gospel of Jeff Corwin.
No, I love that. I get, whenever I talk about projects and I say we, people are like,
Same.
wait, who's the we?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, like, well, me and...
I feel fucking stupid saying I. I mean, it's the same thing with this podcast. Like, you walked in here, there's fucking 5 people who have set all this stuff up. They're helping us edit. They're helping me with the TikTok. They're helping me book guests and email people how to get here, like, plus 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
For me to say my podcast.
Yeah.
Like, what an asshole.
Yeah.
It's our podcast, and it's this thing we're building together.
Facts. And it's better
again,
that way.
And it comes back to my kind of mantra of create things I love with people I love. It's not fun to me to make an album I love alone. It's not fun to me to make a podcast I love alone. It is, how do I create things I love with people I love? And the second part is just as important as the first.
You gave a great example of that stuck with me for as long as I've known you, in that, because we've been talking about the arena and the stadium since we've known each other. And you were like, I don't want to get to the stadium and look backstage and nobody be there. And I was like, motherfucker, that's incredible. Because that's it, dude. Because this is, it's isolating and it's lonely and it's fucking dark. But
Yeah,
there
it's a
are
lot.
people who give a shit about what you're doing and believe in you. And yes.
Yeah, and like Jake and Jeff and
Bring them out on stage, like
Yeah.
it's a moment where it's like, hey, get your ass out here
Yeah.
because this is yours too.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
So I feel the same way about you, man. I hope that you're on the side of my stage, and I hope I'm on the side of yours, or
Absolutely.
better, we'll just be on each other's stages when we collab and make some really, really cool
Ooh,
shit.
what was that? What was that?
Stay
A little
tuned.
foreshadowing?
That feels like a great place to hang our hats.
I love it.
And retire.
Absolutely. I love you, bro. Thanks for having
love
me.
you very much.
This is special.
You're special.
Proud of you.
All right, let's turn these cameras off. We're gonna make out, guys. That's another Why Are We Here.
Alexa, play my person.
Alexa, play my mi persona.
Mi persona.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, this is a great
Goodbye.
episode. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your orthodontist, tell your zoologist, tell your pastor, tell your...
And when your pastor's pissed about how many times I said Jesus and fuck in this podcast, tell him not to call me because I got enough of them calling me
if you
already.
have a mad pastor, call this number.
If you have a mad pastor, that sounds like a weird disease. I got mad pastor.
Man, I can't even stand up right. I got a mad case of the mad pastor.
What do you think it is? Like blood clots, like from just eating
It's
way
a wonky
too much,
knee or
like,
something. Like,
yeah.
Well,
I love
it's
you.
a weird place to end, but I love you, buddy. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.